my concern for Houston in this series against the Warriors may ultimately be what wins the Rockets the series. So I may have to retract all of this. But what kind of gets me about the Rockets is that they've got 5 guys, I think, that believe in their own head that they're the dude.
Yeah.
And at times, I think that's awesome. And I think that's part of their mentality that has gotten them to the 2 seed in the regular season, where they play every game hard. I just don't know if it may be necessary at some point for there to be a true pecking order on that roster and for there to be a defined go-to guy. Because listen, it's cool in the regular season if one night it's Fred VanVleet, and the next night it's Jalen Green, and the next night it's Alperen Şengün, and the next night it's Jabari Smith or even Dillon Brooks. Right. Even Dillon Brooks thinks he's the dude offensively at times, right? Like that's in his head. And I think part of that's good. I think that part of that's a good mentality. But in a playoff game, ultimately playoff series are won by superstars. And who's the superstar? Who's the guy on that Rockets team that when it comes down to it is going to take that shot?
It's not even to me, and I get your point. Kevin Durant is that guy. It's just a matter of will the Houston Rockets go get him this summer, and that's certainly a discussion that we can have many more times between now and July.
Well, I've already been talking about this with people. Rockets lose first round. That front office and ownership group will not help themselves from going out and doing their best to either get Kevin Durant or whoever else is available. Other names we're hearing could be available this summer. Zion Williamson, Ja Morant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, whoever it is, that Rockets front office cannot help themselves from going out and being in the mix for a superstar this summer. And I think it's wrong because I think this Rockets team.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this Rockets team, the worst thing that could happen to this Rockets team is that circumstantially they overachieve because the rest of the West just isn't that good, and they become the next version of the Atlanta Hawks from a few years ago.
Kings.
Or the Sacramento Kings, or the Memphis Grizzlies, or one of these teams. Listen, this group with this coaching staff is so freaking good, but they're so young, right? It's okay if the Warriors, before they started their dynasty, lost in the first round of the playoffs. You need that. You need that experience. You need to go into the summer with a bad taste in your mouth about how it ended and be angry and be motivated coming into next year. I don't want to see this organization prematurely go give up a lot of its young core assets to go bring in a superstar for the sake of having a superstar.
You got to get the right one. Jared, I think it's about getting the right guy, if that comes down to it. Personally, I wonder if a man Thompson is the guy, but he's just so unconventional in the way that we think of first-tier superstars as being offensive-minded players. I think he's the needle mover for them. I think when you have Fred VanVleet, who's not going to be anybody's long-term answer per se, right? When you say, Fred VanVleet's our point guard, you might still be looking for a point guard. That's no shade to Fred. That's just saying there's a certain limit to how far you think you can go at that position. Dillon Brooks might be a great culture guy, but I don't know if you can depend on him on a night-to-night basis from sort of ignoring his own impulses and doing, it's Dillon Brooks time in the last 5 minutes. Like we've seen those movies before. I'm fascinated by the future, the potential. I'm with you about letting it grow organically because they have so many young guys and you're getting so much great experience. I love Ime Udoka as a head coach. I bet you Ime Udoka loves being in Houston right now. That man is probably having the time of his life in a bunch of different ways, right? So I'm with you on that.
Wait, can you explain for what? What do you mean?
Are you done? Just let me know when you're finished. Just let me know when you're done being a child.
Can I ask you a quick question real quick?
Sure.
Two different questions. Who picks up a tech first and who picks up an ejection first in this series? Dillon Brooks or Draymond Green?
Oh, Dillon Brooks. That's easy. Because if there's one thing you can say about Draymond Green, you can say he can help himself. You don't think that Dillon Brooks can help himself. You think that Draymond Green has a choice and he just chooses to step over the line. You tend to believe that Dillon Brooks doesn't know that there is a line. And if there's one person who's going to try to needle the other into getting the tech, it's going to be Draymond Green trying to needle Dillon Brooks into getting the tech. It ain't going to be the other way around. What do you think about that?
I say double ejection. Game 2. Game 2.
Then that would hurt Golden State a lot more, to be perfectly honest. And
absolutely. And that is a great point.
And he can't afford that. And this is where I'm looking forward to seeing the gravity that Jimmy Butler creates against this group of athletes. Yep. Steph Curry having to be guarded by a lot of these athletes. It might not be a Stephen Curry series in the way that we think. It may be a Jonathan Kuminga series, but he ain't playing. Like, that's the weird thing about all of this, especially from Steve Kerr. Kuminga's not playing. He and Jimmy Butler kind of operate the same space on the floor. The Butler, Kuminga, Draymond Green, combo, it hadn't worked. So I completely understand them abandoning him. But once again, it goes back to my point. It's going to take a whale of a Steve Kerr coaching job to make this happen.